Now, before I begin on my speech, I'd like to ask you a question. It's a very important question, and that is, what would you do if you were put in a situation to where your life was at risk, or if somebody else you loved was at risk, to where their life was on the line? Um, and furthermore, what would you do to ensure their safety when they go about their everyday life, whether it be their job or relaxation or even to the grocery store? You would do anything to keep yourself and your family safe. And this brings me to the topic of my speech, which is why EMTs and EMS personnel should be allowed to carry a concealed weapon while on duty. Now, as for me, I am a licensed EMT. I have worked as an EMT before, so I know what the stress and the danger of going about and working in that profession is. It is very dangerous. Your life is always on the line, and no matter what it is, no matter what the call is, it could change just like the drop of a hat. It changes very fast. And for me personally, I would feel a lot more safe if we were allowed to carry. Now, there's a lot of news, so to say, about EMTs or EMS personnel being harmed while on the job. And this is very heartbreaking because they have families, just like everybody else. They have wives, husbands, children, dogs, for example. They all have people that care about them. And for anybody who does have a spouse or a family member, whether it be an officer or first responder, you would know what that feels like. Them walking out the door not knowing if they're going to return. Now, having them carry a permit will increase their safety. It will help ensure that they have a safer time while out on the road. It will help them have a safer future. Now, when I was going through EMT Academy, my instructor, he told me a story, actually about him and a partner going on a call where a patient was wearing a kind of like a trench coat type piece of clothing, and they didn't know anything about him besides he was acting irrationally, which was pretty normal because they've been to him before. So they got to this guy's house, and he was wearing a trench coat. And as my instructor and his partner were walking up to the patient, he opened up the trench coat, and there was a handgun inside of his coat. And he grabbed it and started waving it around. And as you can guess, that kind of freaked out my instructor. And so they ran for it because they didn't know, whether he was going to shoot at him or what was going to happen. And then the cops ended up coming very quickly after that. But it's just like that story, where their patient has a gun, don't know what they're going to do with it. And then there's another story where an EMT down in Detroit, actually, this is according to the WXYZ news station down in Detroit, they got a story of where an EMT was attacked in a liquor store parking lot where he was just assessing a patient, assessing a patient, which is very common. And then there's another story, and this is actually a very serious concern that we are taught about in EMT Academy. These paramedics were attacked by a patient, and then the patient, after he attacked them, proceeded to steal the ambulance. Now, these are very serious because not only does it harm the EMTs on the job, but the patient can steal that ambulance, steal everything in there, and eventually end up hurting themselves and or any other people. Now, EMTs, they shouldn't have to go to work every day worrying about whether or not they're going to live or die or be harmed. They are there to protect other people. They are there to save other people's lives. They should not have to worry about their own safety. And because of that, and there was actually a poll taken from a number of EMS personnel, asking if they're attacked while on the job or not. And of course, there are going to be, some variances to where someone feels attacked in some sort of way, and it's going to differ across all different types of people, all different types of business. And in this survey, there were 1,778 approximate people who were surveyed, and about 17 or 1,100 of them actually answered. And when asked if they were attacked on the job or not, approximately 65% of those people who answered that survey said they were attacked in some sort of way or another. Now, and in about 10% of those situations, a weapon was used, whether it be a club, walking cane, or even a gun. Now, these numbers are astronomically important. Over half of these people, over half of the people trusted to take care of us in our worst times, are being attacked by the very people they are entrusted to protect. We cannot have that. We cannot have the people who are supposed to care about our community, care about our family, and save their lives being attacked by people. And being able to carry will only help ensure their safety and their confidence, and then be able to do their job and worry about what matters the most. And in this bill, and because of these situations and stories, like my EMT instructor being approached by a patient with a gun, and these EMTs and paramedics being attacked by patients, a bill was passed, and this is taken primarily in Texas. According to the EMS World website, which is a blog for EMS safety, there's a bill passed in Texas which says that EMTs and paramedics and any volunteer first responders would be able to carry a weapon or a gun if they have a concealed carrying permit. Now, this one, this is very important, not only to any EMS personnel but to the families. They also reported that they are 30 times more likely to be assaulted if you're working in an EMS field, whether it be an EMT, paramedic, law enforcement. There are over 700,000 assaults each year, and being able to carry these weapons will be able to ensure that those numbers drop drastically and get to where they need to be, which hopefully someday will be pretty darn close to zero. Now, with this law, it would obviously it would put these members through training and through tactical response shooting situations and firearm trainings, and just as if you're a regular person getting a gun, they'd be trained, they'd be taught how to use it, and they'd be taught the safety, which is equally important. Now, EMTs, EMS, paramedics, first responders, they are all damaged. They go through so much in life, and they do not need to worry about whether or not they're going to live or die. And about 2.4% of EMTs commit suicide each year. They're more likely to. We cannot have that. Guns need to be implemented. They need to be able to carry. They need to live.